Hi there everyone, Alexander Love here. Happy to be here with you today. And in this video, what we're going to do is look at what's called the tragic worldview. If you haven't seen the previous videos on the pre-tragic worldview, you can go ahead and click that little thing up above. It'll take you there, and then you can come back and watch this one. So what we've been exploring here is how, as human beings, we are creating a human story. This is called the myth of separation, a sacred narrative that has within it a recognition that human beings have the capacity for self-reflection. This means we're able to have a knower that looks at ourselves in the world and asks powerful questions. And as a part of this process, we weave together narratives that explain the world, that explain who we are. And this can be looked at through three different worldviews: the pre-tragic worldview, the tragic worldview, and the post-tragic worldview. What we'll do in this video is explore the tragic worldview. Now, you'll remember from the previous video that the pre-tragic worldview at its essence is a disposition of innocence, a kind of youthful, safe place where nothing has been broken yet. Or if we did stub our toe or break a bone or have some sort of sting experience, we have authorities like parents or a president or a teacher that explain away our pain and help bring us back to this place where everything is always all good. There are moments in our lives when the certainty that the pre-tragic worldview creates as a means to insulate and protect and remain in this place of innocence, there are moments in our lives where that shield comes crashing down. That there are tragic events in our lives that are so great or have the precise resonance required to crack our lattice of certainty. And in this moment, everything we thought we knew begins to crumble down. Our belief in the higher power or the higher authority begins to crumble. And now in the tragic worldview, we find ourselves in a place of chaos, in a place where the suffering of the world feels closer. There's more of a naked honesty because there's less capacity to insulate ourselves from tragedy. And this breaks open our heart. It brings us face to face with the pain of separation that we experience as human beings. It evokes a feeling in us of longing to try to find something better, because the tragic worldview is one in which we make direct contact with a newfound capacity for empathy. Empathy is the ability for me to feel what's happening within you, but inside my own experience. From a neuroscience perspective, this occurs through what are called mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are something that we all have within us, that when someone else is experiencing something, it registers what's called the mirror neurons in us so that it creates an environment where we feel the same thing. One example of this, my daughter and I both like to go to CrossFit. And there was a time when my daughter was practicing muscle ups, which is a difficult thing to do. Essentially, you're hanging from these rings, and then if you get it right, you end up above the rings. You have to sort of flip yourself all the way up there. Now, there was one day where I was at the gym with her and she was practicing her muscle ups. And every time in order to do it, you have to do this kind of violent movement with your body that gets you from under the rings over the rings. And every time she would do that movement, I would do that movement too. I wasn't trying to, but I was right there with her. And the mirror neurons in me were resonating with her. And so my body was doing what she was doing as if I was doing it. These are what mirror neurons do. This is how at a neurological level, empathy is created. The tragic worldview is a moment in our lives when our capacity for empathy deepens and broadens and widens. And in this moment, we begin to experience a new kind of pain. Because in the pre-tragic worldview, we have structures of certainty that we can fall back on to help explain why things are the way they are when there are storms. But in the tragic worldview, we no longer have those structures of certainty. The pain itself of these experiences have made that architecture crumble. So often in the tragic worldview, we are left in an experience of deep questioning. What is happening here? Why do we hurt each other the way that we do? Can we do anything about this? One of the other gifts of the tragic worldview is that in the presence of an experience of chaos and a crumbling down of certainty and a deep empathy for the pain in this world, the tragic worldview can give rise to activism, where there is a spirit in us that tries to make the world better because we see that there are problems. We see that their world is filled with a series of problems, or we see that the world is filled with a series of crises. Everywhere we look, there's another crisis that needs to be tended to. And so the tragic worldview can begin to work diligently to begin trying to solve these problems. At the same time, what begins to occur is an experience that there are so many crises everywhere that I turn, with such an open heart, susceptible to the pain, the naked pain of human experience, that I can start to become overwhelmed. I can start to lose heart under the weight of humanity's crying. This can lead us into a dimension of non-action, inaction. What's the point? We start to lose hope. Maybe this is then coupled with moments of inspired activism where we fight for what's right, but then we come back to a place of hopelessness. Because it seems like wherever we turn, no matter how much progress we make, there's yet another tragedy, another set of crises that come tumbling in. One of the things that the tragic worldview paves the way for is the next part of our story, the post-tragic worldview. We cannot arrive at the post-tragic worldview without going through the valley of darkness and tears. And so while the tragic worldview may feel kind of heavy, and likely it may resonate with many of our direct experience of what it means to be a person in this world, in this time, it is an essential part of this larger narrative of being human. Because it accentuates that sacred gap. The gap that is only possible through the gift of self-reflection, but also gives rise to this experience of division and separation. So the tragic worldview, while it has its degree of intensity and brokenheartedness. It's a requirement for the next part of our story. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you liked this video, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you'd like to explore more, please check out the links below. And you can find all sorts of fun stuff to explore to help you deepen your life, deepen your experience of being human, and support you on your way. So thank you. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.